Have you ever noticed how she seems to shift completely depending on what she needs from you in that exact second? You might think you are dealing with a complex, multi-layered person, but what if I told you there are only 6 moods of a narcissistic woman, and the terrifying truth is that not a single one of them actually exists for you? Stick around to uncover why. You have spent years walking on eggshells, trying to predict the weather of her mind. One day she is warm, the next she is a freezing storm, and you are left shivering in the dark, wondering what you did wrong. But here is the secret no one tells you about her changing weather. You never actually controlled the climate. You were just collateral damage in her storm. It feels intensely personal when she snaps at you or suddenly goes cold. You replay conversations in your head, looking for the exact moment you triggered the shift. You think her emotions are a reaction to you, but they are not. Her emotional shifts are not a response to your behavior. They are calculated survival mechanisms designed strictly to manage her inner void. Think about the exhaustion in your bones right now. You are constantly anticipating which version of her will walk through the door. Will it be the loving partner, the raging critic, or the silent ghost? That anticipation is destroying your nervous system. You are addicted to the hope that if you just do things perfectly, the good version of her will finally stay. But the good version is not a real person. None of her emotional states are authentic human reactions grounded in empathy or love. They are costumes she wears to extract a specific kind of energy from you. We call this narcissistic supply. Whether it is your adoration, your fear, or your desperate apologies, all of it feeds the same bottomless black hole inside her. It is a harsh truth to swallow, I know. You want to believe that underneath the manipulation, there is a wounded woman who just needs the right kind of love to heal. You keep pouring your soul into her, hoping your devotion will fix the broken pieces. But you cannot love the narcissism out of someone. Your empathy is just fuel for a machine that will never love you. Let us look at what is actually happening behind those shifting eyes. A narcissistic woman does not experience emotions the way you do. When you feel sad, you seek connection. When she feels threatened, she seeks control. Her entire psychological structure is built on avoiding shame and maintaining a delusion of superiority. And you are just a prop in her grand play. That is why her moods feel so theatrical and extreme. You are not dealing with a normal spectrum of human feeling. You are dealing with 6 very specific masks. Each mood is deployed with tactical precision to disorient you, punish you, or pull you back in when you finally try to walk away. It is a psychological game of chess, and she never told you the real rules. Today, we are going to strip away the confusion. We are going to name these 6 moods so you can finally see them for what they are. Once you understand the mechanics behind her behavior, the illusion breaks. You will stop blaming yourself for storms you did not create. You will finally realize that you were never the problem. You were just the most convenient target. Take a deep breath. I know this is heavy, and seeing the truth can feel like the ground is falling out from under you. But you are not alone in this, and you are not crazy. Everything you have experienced was part of a very predictable pattern. Let us walk through the darkness together and look closely at the 6 moods she uses to keep you trapped in her invisible cage. The first mood is the artificial angel. This is the woman you fell in love with. She is endlessly sweet, highly agreeable, and seems to reflect all your deepest desires back to you. She makes you feel like the most important person in the room. But watch closely. This sweetness lacks genuine warmth. It is a calculated performance designed to hook your absolute loyalty. The artificial angel appears whenever she needs a favor, a financial safety net, or a brand new source of supply. She mirrors your values so perfectly that you think you have found your soulmate. But it is just a psychological data-gathering mission. She is learning exactly what you desperately want to hear, only so she can weaponize those exact desires against you later. Suddenly, the angel vanishes, and you are introduced to the second mood, the fragile victim. This is her most powerful weapon. She will spin tales of how everyone in her past has wronged her, betrayed her, or abused her. She paints herself as a tragic martyr who just needs a hero. And because you have a good heart, you step right into that trap to save and protect her. The fragile victim mood is incredibly dangerous. It weaponizes your own empathy. If you ever try to hold her accountable for something cruel she did, she will instantly flip the script and start crying. Suddenly, you are the abuser, and she is the wounded bird. You end up apologizing for her toxic behavior just to stop the tears. Her victimhood is absolute total control. If crying does not work, she switches to the third mood, the righteous judge. This is where her superiority complex shines. She will look down at you with a cold, condescending glare, analyzing your flaws with surgical precision. She criticizes your clothes, your career, your family, and the way you chew your food. Nothing you do will ever meet her impossible standards. The righteous judge wants you to feel small. If you feel small, you will work harder to earn her approval. She positions herself as the ultimate authority on everything, making you doubt your own basic competence. You start seeking her permission just to live your life. Her judgment is not about helping you improve. It is about keeping you desperately anxious and insecure. These first three moods represent her daily management of your energy. She cycles through the angel, the victim, and the judge just to keep you off balance. You never know if you are coming home to a sweet hug, a dramatic sobbing breakdown, or a bitter lecture. That unpredictability creates a trauma bond. Your brain gets addicted to the chaos, constantly craving the peace. But what happens when she cannot extract the exact reaction she wants? What if you are too tired to argue, or too exhausted to comfort her? That is when the darker moods emerge from the shadows. The fourth mood is the silent ghost. It is a form of psychological torture known as the silent treatment. She will simply erase your existence, walking right past you like a shadow. The silent ghost is designed to trigger your deepest abandonment wounds. She will withhold eye contact, affection, and even basic conversation. You are left alone with your thoughts, agonizing over what you did wrong. The silence is deafening. She wants you to beg for her attention. She wants to see you break down, proving that she holds the absolute power in the dynamic. In all of these moods, there is one chilling constant. None of it is actually about you. Your pain does not register to her as something to be comforted. It only registers as proof of her power. You are interacting with a defense mechanism dressed up as a human being. A void that constantly needs to be filled with your emotional reactions. And the void is never satisfied. And then it happens. You finally reach your breaking point. You set a boundary, or you refuse to play the game. You politely tell her no, or you catch her in a blatant lie. That is when you meet the fifth mood, the sudden monster. This is narcissistic rage, and it is entirely terrifying. The mask slips completely, and a dark, venomous fury takes over her entire being. The sudden monster does not fight fair. She will scream, throw things, or annihilate your character using your deepest, most vulnerable secrets against you. Words become weapons designed to cause maximum psychological damage. She wants to emotionally destroy you for daring to challenge her false reality. This is not normal anger. It is a desperate fight for her own survival. When you witness the sudden monster, you feel a profound sense of shock. You stare at her face, realizing that the sweet woman you loved is completely gone. The cruelty is so cold, so calculated, that it takes your breath away. In this state, she has absolutely zero empathy. She will say things so dark and twisted that they will haunt your memory for years to come. After the explosion, the dust settles, and she transitions into her sixth and final mood, the bored void. This is perhaps the most chilling state of all. Once the rage burns out, she feels nothing. No guilt, no remorse, no desire to repair the brutal damage she just inflicted on your soul. She simply moves on to her phone or watches television as if nothing ever happened. The bored void reveals her true inner landscape. Underneath the drama, she is profoundly empty. She does not care that you are crying in the next room. She is just bored that you are no longer providing a fun, stimulating reaction. She looks at you with dead eyes, completely detached from the wreckage. You finally see the haunting truth. She simply does not care about you. Experiencing these 6 moods repeatedly breaks down your cognitive function. You start suffering from severe cognitive dissonance. How can the artificial angel and the sudden monster live inside the exact same person? Your brain tries to reconcile the beautiful illusion with the terrifying reality, and it literally shorts out. You start losing your grip on actual reality. You try to reason with her. You try to explain how her sudden shifts are hurting you. You bring up logic, empathy, and love. But talking to her is like speaking a foreign language to a brick wall. She stares blankly, twisting your words, gaslighting you into believing that her mood swings are entirely your fault. If you were just a better partner, she would not be so mad. Notice the pattern. The angel traps you. The victim guilt trips you. The judge belittles you. The ghost abandons you. The monster terrorizes you. And the void dismisses you entirely. Not a single one of these states involves genuine connection, mutual respect, or actual love. They are all just different tactics to manage her unbearable internal emptiness and insecurity. It is a sickening realization when the fog finally starts to lift. You realize you have spent months, or maybe even decades, trying to satisfy a ghost. You were pouring your beautiful, authentic love into a bottomless well. She absorbed all of your light and gave you nothing but confusion and darkness in return. The relationship was never real. It was a one-man play. That realization is the ultimate turning point. It is the moment the trauma bond begins to crack. You stop looking at her like a complex puzzle you need to solve, and you start seeing her as a highly predictable, broken machine. She is not a mysterious enigma. She is just running a simple, repetitive script. And you finally realize you do not want to be in the play anymore. The consequences of surviving this cycle are devastating. Look at what has happened to your nervous system. You are stuck in a perpetual state of hypervigilance, constantly scanning the room for subtle changes in the atmosphere. Your body is flooded with cortisol. You cannot sleep. You have isolated yourself from your real friends because you are too exhausted to explain it. You have lost your sense of self. You used to have hobbies, passions, and a clear voice. Now, you do not even know what you like anymore. You have spent so much time molding yourself to survive her 6 moods that your own identity has been entirely erased. You look in the mirror and see a tired, hollow version of the person you used to be. The spark in your eyes is gone. And what does she do while you are collapsing? She looks outward for new supply. When the bored void sets in, she realizes your energy is depleted. You are no longer fun to play with. So, she effortlessly shifts back into the artificial angel and goes hunting. She begins charming new people, triangulating you with strangers, and setting up her next psychological safety net. This is the darkest part of the abuse cycle. She will watch you suffer, knowing she caused it, and feel a twisted sense of superiority. Your devastation proves that she is important. She will casually tell her friends that you are losing your mind, painting herself as the fragile victim once again. She will rewrite the entire history of your relationship to make you the villain. You try to expose her truth to the world, but nobody believes you. To the outside world, she is the sweet, charming angel. They only see the public mask. They have no idea about the sudden monster or the righteous judge who torments you behind closed doors. This secondary gaslighting from society makes you feel entirely crazy. You suffer in complete, suffocating silence. The injustice of it all burns your soul. You gave her everything. You forgave the unforgivable. You stayed when anyone else would have run away. And your reward for this radical loyalty is to be discarded like a piece of trash. She walks away without a scratch, seamlessly transitioning into a new life, while you are left behind to crawl through the burning wreckage alone. But here is the brutal truth you must accept to survive this collapse. She did not ruin you because you were weak. She targeted you precisely because you were strong, empathetic, and full of the light she desperately lacks. Narcissists do not feed on empty vessels. They feed on vibrant, loving people. Your only mistake was giving a predator the benefit of the doubt. Stop waiting for the moment she finally understands what she lost. She will never have an epiphany. She will never come back with genuine tears of remorse, begging for your forgiveness. That closure you are desperately waiting for is a fantasy. The closure is understanding that her brain literally lacks the capacity for profound empathy. The closure is seeing the machine. You have to stop analyzing her moods. Every second you spend trying to decode why she went from the angel to the ghost is a second she is stealing from your healing. It does not matter why the machine is broken. It only matters that it is severely broken, it is highly dangerous, and it is actively destroying your peace. You must stop trying to fix what you did not break. The collapse of this relationship feels like the end of your life, but it is actually the agonizing birth of your freedom. The illusion is dead. The fake future you built in your head has burned to the ground. It is painful, but fire clears the soil. You are finally free from the impossible task of managing a sick person's delusions. Now, the real work finally begins. Healing starts the moment you go strictly no contact. You must shut the door, lock the windows, and block every avenue she has to your mind. No checking her social media to see which mask she is wearing today. No responding to the random breadcrumbs she throws to test your boundaries. You must starve the phantom. You have to remove yourself entirely from her sick game. When you first walk away, the withdrawal will be excruciating. The trauma bond will scream at you to go back. Your brain will romanticize the artificial angel, trying to convince you that maybe this time, she will change. Do not fall for the mirage. Ground yourself in the dark reality of the sudden monster and the silent ghost. Remember the coldness of the bored void. You must learn to sit with the immense grief of realizing that the person you deeply loved never actually existed. It was all a projection. You were essentially falling in love with a mirror that reflected your own beautiful qualities back to you. The love you felt was real, but it belonged entirely to you. You generated all that magic. She just borrowed it for a while. As the days pass, the heavy fog will slowly begin to lift. Your nervous system will realize the threat is gone, and your body will finally start to exhale. You will sleep deeply again. The relentless anxiety in your chest will dissolve. You will rediscover the quiet peace of an empty room, realizing that boredom is a beautiful blessing compared to narcissistic chaos. You will begin to rebuild your boundaries. Never again will you let someone disrespect you under the guise of love. You will learn to trust your gut instinct. When you see the subtle signs of the righteous judge or the fragile victim in new people, you will not stick around to save them. You will recognize the red flags immediately, and you will walk in the opposite direction. Understand this incredibly empowering truth. Her 6 moods were never about your worth. Her inability to love you was a reflection of her profound emptiness, not your inadequacy. You are entirely enough. You always have been. You survived an emotional war zone, and the fact that your heart is still beating and capable of empathy makes you an absolute warrior of the light. She will spend the rest of her life trapped in her own mental prison, cycling endlessly through those 6 miserable moods, constantly searching for a fix she can never find. She is doomed to a life of superficial connections and hollow victories. But you have the immense capacity to heal, to grow, to experience genuine joy, and to form deeply authentic human connections. Take your empathy back. It is your superpower, and it is far too precious to waste on someone who uses it as psychological fuel. Pour that love into yourself. Reconnect with the person you were before the storms began. Be gentle with yourself on the days you feel weak. Healing is not a straight line, but every single day you stay away from her is a massive victory. You are stepping out of the darkness and into a brand new life. A life where your reality is not constantly questioned. A life where love is safe, steady, and warm. You survived the angel, the victim, the judge, the ghost, the monster, and the void. They have no power over you anymore. The illusion is shattered, the script is burned, and the director has been fired entirely. You are finally safe now. Let her shift her moods for someone else's destruction while you build your incredible peace. Remember this the next time you doubt your decision to walk away into the quiet unknown. The absolute worst day of your healing journey is still 1,000 times better than the best day spent trapped inside her invisible cage. Walk forward and never look back.